State University pre-dental meeting. So once again, if you miss anything during this meeting or have to leave early, no problem at all. It's being recorded and the PowerPoint slides will be sent in the meeting minutes either tomorrow or the day after that. So let's get started. Okay, so a brief breakdown of today's meeting, just so that everybody knows kind of the trajectory. So first, we're starting off with an introduction from our club advisor, Sydney, who I think is here, but if not, we'll come back to that later. Next, we're going to have an update on the cohort groups and t-shirts from Erin. And then I'm going to go over the Case Western Mentorship Program. And then we're going to do a brief presentation on the ODA from Catherine, our ODA liaison. And then I will be doing a brief prerequisites dental school video type panel thing. And then we will end it off with the majors minors student panel. So it's a packed meeting today, but hopefully it will still remain around an hour. Okay, I see Sydney is here, so that's perfect. Hello.
Who will be working with me at some point in your application process. So yeah, I just wanted to pop in here, introduce myself. My email's right there, but I'll go ahead and put it in the chat just in case so you guys have it. But yeah, feel free to come to me with any questions about applying, about Pre-Dent Club, anything like that. So it's nice to virtually meet all of you. I'm sure I've talked to some of you already.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sydney. It's great.
Thanks, guys.
To meet you officially.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you again. Okay, now on to an update from Erin about cohort groups and t-shirts.
Hi, guys. Okay, so I sent out the cohort pairings to the leaders the other day. So hopefully they made a group me with you if you were placed in one, if you signed up. If you want to be in one and you were not placed in a group me yet, or you forgot to sign up or whatever, the QR code is on the following slide. So please sign up if you would like to be in a cohort. But hopefully you're already in one, and you guys should be meeting soon on Zoom just to introduce yourselves and you know, get any questions out of the way. So there's that. Please sign up if you want to be in one. I'll give everyone a minute.
Received it from D3, who was at Case Western Reserve. And basically, they are doing a mentorship program, which kind of cohort, except for the most important difference is that you paired with a current dental student at Case Western. And from my understanding, you don't necessarily need to be applying to Case Western. They can talk to you about just very pre-dental needs, such as DAT, Apple, just to learn more and sign up.
Okay, yay. So the next thing is t-shirts, and I wrote masks ? So I guess I'll gauge interest on that, and I still have to look into those logistics, but we'll definitely be doing t-shirts this year. So there's going to be a form sent in the meeting minutes where you can upload a design, and if your design wins, then you get a free t-shirt. So I wrote that the t-shirt should include Pre-Dental Club at Ohio State or the Ohio State University. I don't think there's any other restrictions. I think that we just have those because sometimes the printing people are weird with what you put on the shirts. So try and put those two phrases if you're going to put something. And you have until October 13th, and then we'll vote on it. That's Tuesday, and then we'll vote on it at the Wednesday meeting on the 14th. And then the masks, I'll look into, see if we can do, but I'm assuming everyone would think that's fun. These are past designs. I think that the one on the left is one of last year's, and then the other two are from previous years, but that's just to give you some inspiration. So get those designs in if you would like to have your t-shirt design win. Okay, thanks.
Hello, everyone. My name is Catherine again. I am the ODA liaison, so I'm just going to talk a little bit about the ODA and what it is. So the ODA stands for the Ohio Dental Association. So what is it? It's an organization that represents Ohio dentists on legislative issues. So I know one issue that they're fighting for right now is Medicaid reimbursements. So a little bit about that. So when a dentist takes Medicaid, Medicaid pays them back like a percentage of the procedure that they did. And these percentages actually haven't been updated since like the early 2000s. So since then, a lot of these procedures have increased in price. And because Medicaid doesn't cover any more of that, dentists can no longer accept Medicaid. So that obviously affects like the community and the people who have access there. So that's just one example of an issue that the ODA tries to fight on. And there's, if you're ever interested in what other issues they're trying to um, just represent, you can look it up on their website. So they also provide professional info and education for dentists and their dental team. So there's like a dental board that all of the dentists have to go through to get their certifications and whatnot, but the ODA is more for like questions about like your work environment, and like all the extra things. So they're really important. And they also work to inform the public about oral health. And they also have this neat section called the ODA Foundation. So when hopefully we're all future dental students, we can actually apply for scholarships that they provide. They also support community dental programs, and that obviously promotes access to dental care. So what exactly is our club's involvement with the ODA? So it's going to look a little bit different this year, but normally we would volunteer at the ODA annual session, and this year it's next week in September. So this annual session has educational seminars. So even as a dentist, you take so many classes and stuff like that, and you still have to take more classes when you are a dentist to learn about new technology and techniques. So what we do, we go there and we set up these rooms or tear down these rooms, just kind of lend a helping hand. And they also, at this annual session, they have exhibit halls of new technology and dental products. So this is kind of fun. We get to go and like we get to view the exhibit, talk to the sales reps and get free samples, which I love, lots of toothpaste. So it's a really cool opportunity. This year it's online, which is sad, but hopefully next year this is something that you guys can look forward to. So another thing that we do is the Chicago Midwinter Meeting, and this is normally held at the end of February. This is also online, which is disappointing, but it's okay with the precautions that we're taking right now. So hopefully this is something that, again, that you guys can look forward to next year. We might try and do something in place of this, but of course we'll let you know. So it's a selective group of people, probably like, I think 20, maybe a little bit more than 20 that get to go to Chicago. It's so much fun. We get to go, we actually get to have dinner with members of the ODA and Dean Lloyd, who is the Dean of the College of Dentistry. So it's a great networking event, get your name out there, get to know the faces of the ODA. And again, this is basically kind of like the ODA annual session, but it's so much bigger. So it's a convention held by the Chicago Dental Society. They still have education courses in an exhibit hall. So it's so much fun. And then you get to explore Chicago and also bond with pre-dental members. So even though it's going to look a little bit different this year, we'll try and maybe do something instead of these normal events. But that's it on the ODA. So thank you for listening.
Thank you, Catherine. Okay, so now on to just another brief overview of the dental school prerequisites. So the ones that are listed here are on the left specific to OSU, and they kind of are the core prerequisites that almost every dental school requires. So these make up the bulk of them. Chemistry 1210 and 1220, which is just general chemistry, both biologies, organic chemistry 1 and 2, microbiology, physiology or EEOB, biochemistry, anatomy, physics, and then both writings. So OSU does not require OChem Lab 1 or OChem Lab 2, which is pretty unique compared to other dental schools. So something to keep in mind while you are scheduling is to take into account the potential of needing to take these courses if you plan on applying to schools other than OSU, which is often what a lot of people do. And so typically what happens is some students will hold off taking these courses that you see on the right hand of the screen, like the OChem Labs and Physics 2. They will wait to take those until the second semester of their senior year, because if you are applying to dental school on a traditional track, you will have heard back from dental schools by around December, which is just in time to alter your schedule for the next semester. So a lot of graduating seniors will wait to take these courses until later on if they are planning on going to Ohio State. Hopefully that made sense. It was kind of a lot, but if you are a first year or a second year, I would highly recommend just trying to get these core courses scheduled. And then once you reach your third and fourth year and you're deciding where you want to apply, then you can start looking into these more specific courses. And then a few other ones that some schools like Michigan require are intro level sociology courses or psychology courses, which a lot of people have credit for from high school, but not everyone. And a few other schools require a calculus or a math course. It truly depends on the schools that you're looking into. So for example, you can easily Google search OSU dental school prerequisites, and a whole list of different courses that you need will come up. So this, for example, is Ohio State's. It definitely probably seems like a lot and overwhelming, but during our student panel later on tonight, we're going to be going through kind of a timeline that each person on the panel has kind of laid out what semester they took their prerequisite courses as well as when they took their DAT. So you can kind of see where you fall and maybe guide your route based on what you see tonight. Does any other eBoard member have anything to add, or any general member about prerequisites? I don't know if I'm missing anything.
Hey Lily, there's a question in the chat. Someone wants to know if you recommend using AP credits for some of the Ohio State prereqs.
Thank you. That's a really good question. It definitely depends on the course. Like for example, psychology and sociology, since those are considered social science courses, dental schools typically, from what I understand, don't see that any differently than taking it in college. But if it comes to something like a physics class or an anatomy class, I would recommend reaching out to that school and seeing if they accept AP credit. But for the most part, almost everyone that you'll see on the panel tonight has a plethora of AP credit. So I think it definitely depends on the course, but it's a lot of people use AP credit, if that makes sense. Okay, and also when it comes to specific coursework, like I said, we'll get into that during the student panel, so we will soon reach that point. Okay, speaking of, so we will be doing the majors, minors, student panel. We have 12 different majors represented tonight, which is amazing. This is the first time we are doing something like this, and I particularly found it important and something that I wish I would have been able to go to as a first year student, because I think there's kind of this stigma or this assumption that there's only one or two majors that are, very popular and relevant to dental school. But as you'll learn tonight, that's definitely not true. You can apply to dental school with nearly any major, and there's honestly, from what I understand, no benefit, no overarching kind of pros or cons that you have against other folks. So we have public health, which will be represented by me, biochemistry, pharmaceutical sciences, nutrition, health sciences, marketing, chemistry, exercise science, bio, psych, dental hygiene, and neuroscience. In the parentheses, you can see people's minors. So it looks like a lot of people tonight do have a minor, but once again, that's not necessarily something that you absolutely need. It could help you stand out in some ways if it's, considered unique or something, but don't feel pressure if you don't have the time or the capacity to pick up a minor. Don't don't scare yourself into doing that. It should be something you genuinely are passionate about. Okay, with that said, what are the main takeaways from this meeting? So first is that your options are limitless, so don't restrain yourself. Second is to pursue your passion. You will be taking a lot of science courses in undergrad and in dental school, so it may be nice to challenge other parts of your brain while you can. Also, like I've said many times, and I will say many more times, is that there's no such thing as a one-size-fits-all journey. We have plenty of majors represented tonight that prove this. And then lastly, like I also said, you can apply to dental school with nearly any major. And even if you already feel confident in your major or minor, who knows, maybe the student panel will open your eyes in some way or another. And then also just in general, we're going to try to steer away from specifically DAT related questions tonight because we are going to have another student panel just like this one to tackle the DAT sections and to tackle the whole process of taking it. So don't feel too stressed out. Don't try to compare yourself too hard tonight. Just use it as a time to sit back, relax, and listen to your fellow pre-dental peers. So how will the student panel work? So first, we will do brief introductions of each person. And then next, we will be asking 4 different questions. The first one will be, what led you to this major? The second is, what advice do you have for someone who isn't happy or is still looking for a major? The third will be, how do your requirements mesh with pre-dent? And then fourth is, if you could go back to your first year and do something differently, what would it be? We'll also be going through each person's curriculum guide, bingo sheet type thing. And then we'll also be going through the Excel sheet that lists everybody's prerequisites for a dental school. And then lastly, hopefully we have time to open questions up to members. All right, I guess I'm talking all night. So I am Lily. I am majoring in public health with a minor in Russian. I am a 4th year, and like I said at the last meeting, my dental aspirations are to become a public health dentist, which is someone who addresses disparities, the lack of representation within this field, and also the policy aspect. And fun fact, I'm a national champion in tennis with the club tennis team here at OSU.
All right, hi everyone. I'm Tia, and I'm a 4th year biochem major. My dental aspirations right now are to first get into dental school, but I'm also a TA right now, and teaching is something that I just love. And so after I graduate dental school, I hope to work as a dentist and work part-time teaching, hopefully at a dental school. And then a fun fact, I just got a puppy in July, and I don't know if you can see her, but she's on my bed right now. I rescued her and she's 6 months old, so that's where I've been.
Hi, I'm Allison. I'm a 4th year studying pharmaceutical sciences with a business minor. I've only shadowed 2 different specialties, so I don't really know what I want to do after dental school. So it's general or orthodontics, since I really like the art aspect of it. And then my fun fact is this summer I really got into drawing traditionally and digitally.
Hi guys, I'm Mella. I'm a 4th year human nutrition major and a French minor. My dental aspirations are to educate and bring awareness to issues in the medical field and inspire others and be of guidance to people who want to go down a similar career pathway. And my fun fact is just that I still remember my first dental visit ever, and that's when I decided that I wanted to be a dentist.
Hi everyone, I'm Fiona. I'm a 4th year studying health sciences and minoring in biology. And my dental aspirations is hopefully just to start out as a general dentist in Cleveland and maybe go into ortho after a few years in practice. And a fun fact is my little sister was born on my 5th birthday, so we weren't twins, but we have the same birthday.
Hey everyone, my name is Jenna. My major is health sciences with a military science minor. I'm a junior. My current dental aspiration is to serve my country as a dentist in the United States Army. And a fun fact about me is that I've almost been to all 50 states.
Hi, my name is Victor Schlatter. I'm a 5th year. This is my final semester at Ohio State, and my dental aspirations include wanting to open up my own practice either in California or Texas. And I would also love to start an annual program where I go to a developed country or low-income area in America to help with dental assistance. I think that would be great. Oh, and a fun fact, I forgot, I'm a twin brother. He currently lives in Los Angeles.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ross Reddock. I'm a 3rd-year chemistry major. My dental aspirations are to one day own or joint own my own practice, and I would like to specialize in endodontics if that is a possibility for me. If no one's ever shadowed an endodontist, I highly recommend it. They use, I think, some of the coolest tools in the business. And fun fact, I ran a 1 hour, 28-minute, 40-second half marathon here in Columbus 2 years ago. Unfortunately, it was canceled this year, so we'll have to wait till next year.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ben Berger, exercise science major. I'm a 3rd year. I'm a pharmaceutical science minor and chemistry minor. I haven't actually officially added chemistry yet. I have like my meeting with the advisor really soon, but I was waiting until after I took OChem. But so my dental aspirations, I want to own my own practice one day. Like the business side of dentistry really interests me. Like I really want to be a business owner, and like being my own boss is something that really appeals to me. So that's, yeah.
Hi guys, I'm Joanna. I am a biology major and a business minor, and I'm a 4th year. My dental aspiration is to continually improve the oral health of people in my community, and my fun fact is that I've lived in 7 different cities.
Hi everyone, I'm a 4th year, well my name's Sarah, sorry. I'm a 4th year majoring in biology with a minor in global public health. My dental aspirations are to be a confident and successful dentist who's able to serve my community and create an environment that is welcoming and uplift the lives of others. And a fun fact about me is that I'm an Irish twin. My older sister and I are only 11 months apart, and she's actually also in dental school right now at UPenn, so we're basically twins, yeah.
Hi everybody, I'm Molly. I'm a 3rd year psychology major and I'm minoring in biology. My dental aspirations are to open a practice that gives back to the community I'm working in. And a fun fact is that I'm half Swedish.
Hello everyone, my name is Taylor. I'm a dental hygiene major. I'm a 4th year, and my dental aspirations are to be a personal dentist in my community and to be able to educate and treat my patients with their best interests to see them through a lifetime of oral health. Right now I'm currently interested in pursuing ortho or pediatrics, but we will see. And my fun fact is that I've actually been kissed by a dolphin, true story. This was one spring break years ago, and I was actually able to swim with it too.
Hi everyone, my name is Jade. I'm a 3rd year neuroscience major, and my dental aspirations are hopefully to at least get into dental school, and then I want to down the road specialize to become an orthodontist and hopefully own my own practice at some point. And a fun fact about me is last year I was able to visit Australia with my family, and I got to pet a kangaroo.
I was muted, great. Okay, so the first question that is on our agenda tonight is, there's two parts to it. Part one is just a brief overview of the curriculum. And then part two is, what led you to this major or minor? Were you always this major or did you change majors? If so, please describe this journey. Okay, so I shall begin kind of describing the public health curriculum very briefly. So on the left, you can see is the environmental public health specialization. It's very overwhelming. And then on the right is the sociology specialization. So basically, there's two specialties that you can decide between within the Bachelor's of Science in Public Health. So I'm very passionate about both, but I ended up doing the environmental, which is on the left, because it kind of overlaps with pre-dental requirements a little better. As you can see towards the top, general chemistry and organic chemistry are required, as well as some other science-based courses on climate change and human health, food safety, cardiovascular disease, infectious disease. And right now I'm taking this amazing class with Dr. William Miller, who is like a leading epidemiologist, and we're talking about outbreak investigations, and it's an incredible course that you can only get through the public health department. But I've also taken many courses in the sociology specialization, like medical sociology, health disparities, and if you can see on the right side of the screen.
They were like, don't just take classes because you need them. Take other classes that might interest you.
Exactly, yeah, totally. So, and that's exactly what I did. So I ended up taking some of the focus areas in the sociology department. You can see on the right hand of the screen include criminology, maternal health, policy, poverty, and social construction of gender. So I ended up taking these incredible courses through both departments that I think is really cool because you get a great mixture of both hard sciences as well as social sciences. And it really makes you understand why you're pursuing what you're pursuing rather than constantly examining things on like such a microscopic level. Okay, one more minute. I have a few more things to say. So when I came into OSU, I had no idea what public health was. So a panel like this would have been very helpful. Believe it or not, I started out in engineering and very quickly realized that that was not for me. I ended up taking some unnecessary classes that I don't even need anymore, and my survey class was not helpful, if we're being honest. So in the spring semester of my first year, I realized that the public health major fit me like a glove, and I decided to take matters into my own hands, and I did my own research, listened to countless students and faculty perspectives, and landed here. My one regret is pushing things too quickly. I definitely wish that I would have started in the undecided major instead of forcing myself to do something that I knew I wouldn't like. Okay, so what is public health? The overarching goal of public health is to prevent people from sitting in that dental chair in the first place. So that might sound a little counterintuitive from a dentist's perspective, but it's actually really important that we focus our efforts on primary and secondary prevention. So we currently have a healthcare system that prioritizes high-end individual clinical care, but neglects population-based accessibility like toothpaste or toothbrushes. Meanwhile, public health focuses on population-based efforts that maximize an entire community's oral health outcomes. So in public health, you have the potential of impacting more people in one day than in an entire year as a practitioner. But of course, both sides need to exist, but right now it's very unbalanced. And then really quickly, I want to mention this minor. It's called the Medical Humanities minor. I'm personally not pursuing this, but I recommend it to almost anyone who's interested in public health, because in my opinion, I think this minor is even better than the public health minor. It does an incredible job of integrating the social sciences with the hard sciences. Some classes that stand out to me are health disparities, sociology of death and dying, gender, sexuality, and science, as well as medical sociology, which is a class I took my sophomore year and is the reason why I'm pursuing dentistry. So if anyone is interested, it's a really cool minor. Okay, now I'm going to be quiet and hand it off to everyone else.
Hi guys. Okay, so the biochemistry major, the main part of the major is the biochem sequence, which is 3 classes, biochem 1, 2, and 3. And then there's a biochem lab, and then a physical biochem class. I'm doing the BA, so that's all I have to take. If you are doing the BS, there is there's like physical biochem 2 and stuff like that. But all of the other prereqs are literally, or all of the other requirements are literally prereqs for dental school. So you have your microbiome, your MolGen, stuff like that. And then you do have to take Calc 1 and 2 and Physics 1 and 2, even if you're doing the BA. So that's a little bit different from like a bio major, I think. I think you'd only have to do the first one. Not totally sure. So that's one thing. I did not start off as a biochemistry major. I actually came in as a chemistry major because I did well in chemistry in high school. And then I got through Gen Chem, was like, I don't really think I'm very interested in this. And personally, I really love learning about physiology and how the body works. And that's really what biochem is. All of my classes have been basically learning how the body works on a small scale and learning the chemistry behind it. And so it kind of combined my like for general chemistry and then my like for physiology. So if you like physiology, learning about how the body works, I definitely recommend this major. And I think that's all I really have to say about it. But yeah, it really does line up really, really, really well with the pre-dental prereq. So that's another reason why I switched to it.
I think this is me. This is the pathway for BSPS, which is Bachelor of Science of Pharmaceutical Sciences. It covers all the prereqs for dental school. There are like some extras, like there is like the physics in there. There are the OChem labs 1 and 2. But if you're applying to schools other than OSU, like you should take that anyways, just so you don't have to like get stuck senior year and like try to cram all those classes in. I started out as a pharmacy major. I'm actually in this EAP program, which I applied into in high school, which is basically if I have a 3.0 and I complete the prereqs, I have a spot in the pharmacy school. But I was like, oh, this sounds like a really good idea to keep as a backup plan, since I wasn't super sure going into college whether or not I want to stay in pharmacy. I want to keep my options open. And then like I found dental and I was like, oh, I think this is much better for me than for pharmacy. I took some of the classes at the like the elective classes. Some of them are really interesting. I took like an addicting drugs class. I took a drug like abuse in the healthcare professional, which I think like I highly recommend taking that class. It talks a lot about addiction. I think it's just a very interesting topic that doesn't get talked about a lot. Let's see. And then if I could go back to my first year of college, I'm actually, okay, so like right now I'm actually taking Korean, but I don't have enough like semesters left to take it as a minor. So I think first year I would have started pursuing that earlier, because like I have enough time to finish my business minor, but this other interest I picked up along the way, I was like, oh, I don't have time to finish that. And I think it would have been nice.
Okay, so I'm a nutrition major, and so the nutrition major has 3 specializations: the dietetics program, nutritional sciences, and nutrition in the industry, which is like a business type nutrition major. And so I actually started off as a bio major, and I switched to nutrition at the end of my sophomore year. I had an advising appointment with my advisor just to kind of like create like a plan for the rest of my 4 years. And I originally didn't realize that there were a ton of higher level bio classes that I needed to take. And so I was kind of intimidated by those classes, and I figured if anything, they might just hurt my GPA. So I switched to the nutrition major. I also felt that having like a less common major might help me stand out a little bit. So on the curriculum sheet, there are a good amount of regular nutrition classes. they don't require too much effort, in my opinion, which is nice. The one thing about the major is that you do have to complete an internship, but if you have if you work at like the Wexner Center, or you have like some sort of like dental job, you can actually like use that in replacement of the internship. And so yeah.
So for health sciences, Jenna, you can kind of hop in and fix or correct anything I don't say, but this major is, what I love about it is that it's super flexible. So you actually have to apply to get into this major after your first year. And on the right, under prerequisite courses, are the classes that you have to take in order to be able to apply. And then after that, there's a lot of health sciences courses that you do have to take, which are pretty much, they're kind of a combination of public health classes and then also just like current events in medicine, and they're very interesting to learn about. And you learn a lot about health insurance, and it's just a good overview of like what I will be facing as a dentist one day. And also the classes that you take line up completely with, like the prerequisite courses are completely lined up with prerequisites for dental school. And also you have a lot of flexibility in your schedule down the road to add in all of the other prereqs that you need, like OChem and microbiome and physiology and such.
Yeah, Fiona did a really great job. The awesome thing about the health science major is, like she said, it's super duper flexible. You do have to declare a minor with this major. I graduated high school with my associate's degree, so if you have an associate's degree, you're exempt from the minor requirement. However, I later joined ROTC, and then with being involved in that program, you have to pick up the military science minor. But yeah, it leaves plenty of flexibility within your schedule to get all those prerequisites done. And then like Lily has been mentioning, you have time to take that OChem 1 and 2 lab and your sociology and psychology and all that great stuff. And my situation is actually a little different than most people. I'm a transfer student. I came from a super duper small school called Tiffin University. And at Tiffin University, I was an exercise science major. And then when I transferred to Ohio State, obviously the health science major really spoke to me because as a transfer student, I already had so many credits. So it was really flexible and helpful when I was trying to get those credits to count. And I love my major because it's also helping me become a more successful health professional. Like right now I'm in management of HR for health professions. So it's also teaching me about that business aspect of dentistry. And then I found the military science minor through becoming involved in ROTC. And I fell in love with the Army and everything about it. And my ultimate goal is to be a dentist for the United States Army. And I wanted to throw in a little tidbit here. If anybody's interested in becoming a cadet through ROTC, then feel free to contact me and I would be more than happy to provide that information for you.
And I'm gonna add one more thing really quick. A lot of these courses, once you are in the major, you're able to take online. They have online options, which really does help with the flexibility, because if there's a OChem class that is only offered at this time of the day, you can opt sometimes to switch a health sciences class to be online. So that's another additional thing to how flexible it is.
Is Victor here? That's okay, we can circle back.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ross. We're talking about the chem major. I am getting a Bachelor of Science. Someone say something?
I asked earlier that
Victor, are you here? I think his Wi-Fi is
I
going.
saw that he left, like I saw the notification, so I'm thinking maybe he like disconnected.
Yeah.
So I would just come back.
Okay, we'll stick with you, Ross, and then I'll message him. Perfect.
Okay, sounds good. So again, I'm getting a Bachelor of Science in Chemistry. There is also a Bachelor of Arts, which definitely could be appealing to a lot of people because it is more flexible. So I chose chemistry because I'm a very technical person. I like math. I like my sciences. And with the chemistry major, you do get a lot of hands-on lab experience. I believe by the time I graduate, I would have taken at least 8 or 9 different lab courses. And that's just for the major. That's not including like any biology classes. So that's really good because it is a lot of hands-on work. And for those who've taken like OChem lab, you know what I'm talking about. It is very math intensive, especially for Bachelor of Science. You need to take Calc 1, Calc 2, Calc 3, and differential equations, which is a lot of math, which may not, all of it, definitely not necessarily relevant for dental school or even the DAT, but I find it super helpful. I know the chem department here does not have the best reputation, and that's totally understandable. I have personally taken some of the smaller size classes. So Gen Chem, I didn't take 1210, 1220. I took 1910, 1920. That definitely helped out a little bit. Same thing for OChem. I took 2910, 2920. And then there's also the courses for the majors and I think minors as well, which gets a little smaller, which is good. I have a great relationship with my professors. They're willing to work with you and the advisors as well. Class that stands out was analytical chem, which I just took last year. It was taught by Dr. Gustafson, who is actually the head of all undergraduate chemistry. So having him as a professor was really cool. If I have any regrets, I would definitely consider the BA a little bit more because it is not as math intensive. I believe you only need to take up to Calc 2, so you do not need Calc 3 or DiffyQ. And then I don't believe you need to take as many upper level coursework with like the labs and stuff. You still need to take PChem and inorganic chem, I believe. But would definitely consider that because it does allow more room to fit in all like your prereqs for dental school and a minor.
All right, so I'm an exercise science major, and it really should be called exercise physiology. Like, pretty much, so all the normal general education classes, like all the chemistry, bio, whatever. And then so if you look, there's like you need an anatomy as a prerequisite, so that fits in. And biochemistry, that's the lower level biochemistry, but you could take 4511 in place of that, which I'm taking now, and gives you credit. So that covers. And then once you kind of get to the exercise science classes, the first 3 are very physiology based. It's very helpful for the DAT. Like, I feel very confident in my like physiology knowledge. And then I haven't even taken those laboratory classes where like you're in like the exercise science lab. A lot of people don't realize that like there's like a lot of like science to be measured when you're working out, a lot of things you can do to like improve athletes' performance. And professors, like I have nothing but like incredible things to say about like all the professors. And for exercise science, like there's some of like the most renowned like exercise scientists in the world or in the country. Dr. Marish, if you were in the major, he teaches like the first 3 classes. Like he's an awesome guy, very knowledgeable. And if you look down at the electives, there's also physics and bio 1114 down there too. So that fits into dental prerequisites. So like overall, like it doesn't sound like it would really fit into like for like a dental student, but like classes definitely line up. I have to take organic chemistry as an elective, but it's okay. But like it's really is an awesome major. If you like really do, if you're an athlete, like you played sports, if you like working out, like you'll learn a lot. You'll learn a lot about yourself. So it's very, I feel like it's something not every major or something that like it's knowledge that like that'll be beneficial for the rest of my life, you know. So I don't know, I really enjoy it.
Hi, I'm Joanna. I am a biology major, and bio is probably one of the most, if not the most popular major among pre-dents. But please don't think that that means you have to choose it, or just because the majority of people do that you should as well. I originally came into college as a biochemistry major. But I realized pretty quickly that that didn't suit my passions and my interests, and so I decided to switch over to biology and add a business minor. So the bio major, it's quite broad, and so they do split it into different categories. So the one that I'm in, and that probably most of you, if you choose bio, would be in, would be the pre-health professions one, which you can see on the left. But basically, if you get a BS, you can see all the required courses and they match up extremely well with the pre-dent recs. And then if you choose the pre-health profession path, then there is like a whole list of electives that you could choose from. And you basically just have to get up to a certain number of hours that they require. So I found that the bio major was great for me personally because I am passionate about the classes that they offer, and it's super flexible with the electives because you can just pick straight off the list what pre-dent recs want and what you want to do. As you can see, they do match up very well, like the micro, the physiology, the anatomies, everything, it's all in there. And I realized that with this major, I did have time to take a minor and not have to like cram my schedule with like 18 credit hours a semester. So that I think that's a pro of the bio major. But I would say a con is that if you are set on Ohio State and aren't really wanting to take like the OChem labs and the physics too, which are notoriously the not so fun classes, they are required with the bio major anyway, so you just have to take them even if you decide to go to OSU and not have to take them. But yeah, that's the bio major.
Like Joanna was saying, I'm also a bio major, and with that, I was able to add a public health minor, and I actually added it last semester, so junior year, so it's never too late. I definitely am taking higher credit hour like semesters now, but public health has been something that I've learned I'm really passionate about, but something that's really interested in me. It's really beneficial, like learning more about just everything that it entails, and it's really relevant to dentistry too, so that's something that's really great about this minor. So if you would like to know more, anything about it, you can talk to Lily or me about it. So yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Molly, I'm a psych major. I actually started out as a biology major, and then after my intro to psych class freshman year, I was really interested in the mind and behavior. So I decided to switch my major and then just have biology as a minor. The core classes don't match up great with dental school prereqs, but they're definitely doable to do both at the same time and kind of balance. I really liked this major because there are a lot of electives to choose from depending on where your interests lie. And I just thought it was a lot better fit for me personally, but I still was super interested in biology. So I decided to just make that my minor because I had already taken a lot of those classes. But yeah, if you have any questions, let me know.
Okay, so this is the curriculum for dental hygiene. I originally came into college as a biology major, and quite honestly, I changed that very fast. Really, the only reason I feel like was because it's not really a great reason, but I took 3 years of Spanish in high school, and I really didn't want to take it anymore. And as a bio major, you have to take a language, so the funny thing is that I switched to health sciences quickly after, and I learned about the health sciences major through a pre-dental club meeting because one of the executive boards was a health sciences major. So that is why I switched to that. And I stayed that major until I think like the spring semester of my sophomore year, because that was when I discovered the dental hygiene major. And you have to apply, I believe maybe it was before that. So it was like the winter of your sophomore year, your second year. So you have to do the dental hygiene prereqs your first 2 years of college. And then the last 2 years are going to be like in the program, kind of like nursing is. And that's when you do like your clinicals and things like that. So the nice thing about it is some prereqs line up with dental school prereqs like micro does. And let me see. I guess sociology if you're applying to some places, bio, but the nice thing on here, like it says bio 1101 and chemistry 1110. So if like I took bio 1113 and then chemistry 1210 because they're dental school prereqs, but they also count because they're higher level like chemistries and bios. I would say that it is very difficult to do both. So like if you come in as like, oh, I know that I want to go into dentistry, and you go in as a dental hygiene major, it is pretty difficult to line everything up. It takes a lot of planning. And like for me, I had to do a lot of the dental school prereqs the first 2 years, as well as like the hygiene prereqs. So like I said, it does take a lot of planning, but it is doable. I didn't come in with any AP credits or anything like that. So I started off fresh and I was able to do it. So if you're really interested in it, I could go into more details about that. Just send me a message and I'd be happy to talk about it. It's really nice because we get to work with the dental students and I'm able to meet a lot of faculty members. So if you're really interested in going to OSU, I think it's a really good option for you. Yeah.
Taylor, someone asked if it's possible to minor in dental hygiene.
I don't think it's possible to minor. Unfortunately, I think that would be really awesome if you could, because I think a lot of people would be interested in doing that, but unfortunately, no.
Okay, so my major is neuroscience, and before coming to college, I honestly had no idea what I wanted to major in. Kind of the reason why I even picked neuroscience in the first place was because I looked at like a campus schedule of what it was like to be a neuroscience major, and it lined up with pretty much all of the prereqs required for pre-dentistry. So I knew that it would be an easier workload to handle and not have to take too many like courses outside of what was already required of me. So basically for neuroscience, in order to be a neuroscience major, you have to come in, you have to have a psych credit and bio 1 credit, which I took bio my first year of college, and then I already came in with a psych credit because I had AP credit from high school. And then moving forward, once you're into the major, you have to take an intro class for the 3 specializations under neuroscience. So there's behavioral, there's molecular, and there's cognitive neuroscience. So you take an intro class for each one just so you can kind of get like a feel for each specialization. For 2 of them, you have to get a certain grade or higher in order to move forward. And there's a 4th core requirement class that you have to take. It's more so like the structure and function. So it's more like an anatomy-based neuro class. And then once you get those out of the way, you can go on to pick which specialization that you want to be in specifically. So for me, I picked the behavioral one, but there's also, like I said, there's molecular and there's cognitive, and it's basically just what suits you the most. Once you get through that, you have to take 5 specialization courses. So there's like a whole list of courses, as you can see in this like picture. There's a lot of courses that you can choose from that are very more so specific for like the specialization, and it's like based on like what sort of interests you. And then you can take 2 breadth courses, which basically means that you have to take 2 extra courses that are like from one of the other specializations, just so that you can have a broad like understanding of neuroscience as a whole. But the nice thing about these specialization courses is they kind of overlap. so you can get like credit for like multiple specializations just from one class. So it might sound like you have to take a lot of extra classes, but it's really not that many because they can kind of count for like multiple credits. I would say that like neuroscience is a pretty good option. It sounds a little daunting, but if you're someone who really likes psych classes that are like focused on the brain and how the mind works, and you are the type of person who likes memorization based classes where you kind of just listen to lectures and memorize the information and take your tests, it's really not too difficult, like as far as like levels of the classes. But yeah, and it fits pretty well with like all the requirements for pre-dentistry, with the exception of a few like classes outside of what you have to take. But I definitely would recommend it for people who aren't too sure what they want to go into just yet.
Thank you. Okay, we're gonna circle back to Victor really fast, and then we'll move on to the next question.
Hi, sorry about the connection earlier, but yes, I am a marketing major, and I actually came into college as a marketing major. I had a pretty good indication that I wanted to become a dentist, and with that, I knew that I would want to own my own practice, and I grew up very business oriented with lemonade stands and selling popcorn and Boy Scouts and landscaping and all that. So I was always very interested in it. And also when I started college, I knew that there was a realistic possibility that it was good to stick out for applying to dental school. And I think out of all the majors that were discussed, this really doesn't mesh with like the pre-dental prerequisites at all. Like I think I'll graduate around like with like 165 credit hours, but it's definitely doable if you want to do it in 4 years. I know a kid currently at OSU's dental school was a marketing major. The president of the pre-dental club 2 years ago, Brian, he was a business administration major, and he graduated on time. One of the cool things about like the specialization courses, you have to take 16 and a half, but like they're all group project oriented, and sometimes you're working with a company. So like last spring semester, I had like a half an hour presentation in front of Milwaukee Tools, which is like a power tool machine company, and just talked about like their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, things like that. So if you find yourself to be a business-oriented person who wants to have like more of a business background going into dental school, I recommend doing it. I think it's pretty cool, like jumping from like accounting class to organic chemistry and stuff like that. But it does require planning, and you are most likely going to have to take a lot of credit hours or at least some summer classes. So that's about it.
Thank you. All right. Okay. So the second question is, what advice do you have for someone who isn't happy in their major or is still looking for a major? So student panelists, if you feel like you don't have anything to add or anything new to say, feel free to pass it along, because I know we're already at 7:30, which is totally fine, but I'm actually gonna wait to answer this until the end. So Tia, if you would like to start, you can go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So I think if you're not happy in your major, you're not sure what to do, just explore different things. You know, you don't want to go 4 years of your life just taking classes you hate. And honestly, if you like the classes, if you're interested in them, you're going to be willing to put in more time, more effort, and you're going to end up with a better GPA, better chance of getting into dental school, stuff like that. So I wouldn't worry about doing something that you think would be best for dental school or even overlaps most of dental school. If you're interested in it, do it, because you're going to do better in it. So that's my input.
Allison, you can go next if you.
Even though like I'm like okay with my major, I really recommend if you're thinking about changing or you're looking for one, go talk to your advisors. They are totally fine helping you like try to figure out what you want to do. They don't really care if you're like planning on changing out of like their college. They want you to succeed in what like you're planning to do, and if that involves going to a different path, they are a great resource to use. Also you can like how we have pre-dent club, you can go explore other different like academic organizations and then get to know people and then ask like about like the coursework and stuff like that.
So same thing, basically. I just suggest making several advising appointments with different majors that you're interested in if you're not happy. And you'll really be able to like narrow down majors super quickly once you realize that like certain requirements of these majors aren't going to work out for you.
Yeah, everything that everyone else has said has kind of hit the nail on the head. Just do what you love, and if you're passionate about it and you can talk about it in an interview, and I think that's most important. So just follow what you're passionate about.
If you aren't happy at your major or even at your current institution, you should really do what makes you happy. Transferring to Ohio State was one of the best decisions I've ever made. And if you're still looking for a major, then I suggest trying to take an introductory class. For example, I took Intro to Psychology, and I very quickly realized that that was not my forte. So yeah, I would just say explore your options.
Yeah, like what Jenna just said, I'm also a transfer student to Ohio State, and I transferred super late. I transferred midway through my junior year. And so what I would recommend and what I did when I was deciding do I stay at University of Cincinnati or go to OSU is I just made a pros and cons list, writing down like the things I didn't like and the things I did like. And also just be honest with yourself. This summer, I was talking to a student who was a fourth year pre-med student, and he was asking if I could help him study for the MCAT because I was studying for the DAT and they're like heavily correlated. And he was just telling me for like 5 minutes how much he hated his science classes, like anatomy and physiology. He's like, I like math, like calculus and physics, but I don't like anatomy. And I just thought it was super weird. I wish I spoke up to the guy, but don't be that guy. Don't get stuck in a major because you feel like you have to go down a certain route. You don't have to if you don't want to.
Really good advice, Victor. My advice is a little different than what everybody else has said so far, and it kind of goes beyond the scope of pre-dent. I think you should try to figure out maybe where you want to be after college. And again, that's a difficult decision in and of itself. But for me, that's really helpful to where do I want to go and how can I then get there? So whether if you're trying to go to dental school or you want to have other options, like for me, being a chemistry major, I liked some of the other career paths that are also out there for a chem major. So that's kind of what helped me with my decision. But if you're into something else, look into what can I study that can get me there and kind of work backwards. But what everybody else has said so far is excellent advice.
Yeah, just my advice is don't pick your major based off wanting to be a dentist. They're not correlated at all. Like, if you want to be a dentist, the only thing you have to do is take those classes, take the DAT. So don't let what your degree says like stop you from taking the major you want to. So
yeah, so what everyone else was saying was really good advice. One thing for me personally, when I realized I didn't want to be a bio major, it was already too late. Like I already taken all the language requirements for the arts and sciences, and I really hadn't taken that many general electives. So by the time I applied to the health science major my sophomore year, there was no way I was gonna graduate in time within the 4 years without taking 18 credit hours for the rest of my time and summer classes. So I would just say start earlier if you're planning on switching majors, but at the same time, you're gonna get a dental school, so like it's your journey, and if that takes you 2 or 1 like more years, like that's totally fine.
I just wanted to add that in terms of like advisors and stuff, I personally have had a pretty bad experience with the advisors I've had. That's amazing if your advisors are great because that is what their job is supposed to be, but I personally have not had good advisors. So I would say that if you are feeling like your advisor isn't giving you maybe like the best information, to reach out to people that are like pre-dents, maybe older than you in your major. Just reach out to people that have actually gone through the experience, because I remember like my advisor, she was like a religion major in college and like had no experiences in any sort of science, let alone pre-dent. So if that's the case for you, hopefully it's not, but if that's the case for you, don't be afraid to reach out to any of the upperclassmen.
Molly, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I was just gonna say basically what everyone else says too. My biggest advice would be to take introductory classes of what you're interested in and then go from there, because diving right into something that you're not sure of can be turn into a waste of time. So I would just say to test things out and then see what interests you the most.
I would just say, like, not to get anxious by comparing yourself to other people who seem like they have everything planned out, because the truth is the majority of people definitely don't have everything planned out. So if you're really unhappy and you think that you really do need a change, then I would say to just take time and reflect on it and to figure out why that you feel like that and what do you think would change it. So I personally think I made the right decision changing my major multiple times. So just above all, I would just say take time to reflect and figure out what you enjoy doing and learning about, and just try to find the best match for you and what's going to give you what you want and get you where you want to go.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree with what everyone has said pretty much up to this point. I would definitely say not to stress. It's completely okay to change your major as many times as you feel necessary. It's a very common thing for people to do. It's better to change your major when you know you want to than to try to stick it out and it doesn't end up well for you. As long as you're proactive about it and you're not like wasting time and you're in your 4th year already and you kind of wanting to change, which you can still do, I guess, but I would definitely just try to be proactive about it. Try to like work with your advisors if you have trustworthy advisors. You know, that's what they're there for, and they definitely will help you to get all of your classes done in time with whatever you choose and whatever time you have left. It's okay to take summer classes if you have to. It's okay to take an extra semester, an extra year if you have to. Like what Joanna said, like it's also a really good idea to talk to anybody in this club. I mean, we're all kind of going through the same thing. We're all trying to get to the same place. So we're also a really good resource to come to as well. But yeah, I would just really say not to stress about it and really go with what you feel is most comfortable for yourself.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I honestly can't even imagine trying to add more advice after all of that, everything that everyone has said. But I guess all I'll say is to listen to yourself. And if you're truly unhappy and you feel unsettled when you leave classes specific to your major, that's probably a big sign that you should start looking into other options. Okay. Third question, and then there's one more after this one. So how do the pre-dental requirements mesh with your major/minor requirements? So we will briefly go through each person's Excel sheet and kind of just talk about anything that stands out. So this one right here, I believe, is my own. Yes, it is. So I took the DAT just this past summer, a few weeks ago, a month ago. So the only courses I didn't take before the DAT is physics, as well as anatomy and organic chemistry lab 2. Like I said earlier in the meeting, a lot of students will wait until the spring semester of their 4th year to kind of cram those classes in, myself included. But you can take a look at the rest of the coursework I took before then. I never took any summer classes, which is pretty rare, but really awesome. So yeah.
Okay, so I followed a similar path, but I took my DAT the summer after sophomore year, actually. And so if you look, my first year is pretty normal. Same with my fall second year. The spring semester second year, I kind of crammed in a lot of classes so that I could take the DAT after sophomore year. But honestly, it's the best decision I've made. Definitely recommend it if you think it's going to be possible for you. But we'll get into the DAT stuff later, so don't worry about that now. And then, so one thing I do want to mention on here is if you look, I have biochemistry 1, 2, and 3. Those are not prereqs. You only have to take 3 biochems if you are a biochem major. So like if you're not, you will just take 1 biochem, so kind of ignore those. When I took the DAT, I didn't have like physiology or anatomy or anything like that. So I still felt prepared. And then one thing I have to go after this, so I'm going to combine my number 4. So it's if you could go back to your first year and do something differently, what would it be? And this actually goes along with this. If you look, I have AP credit for Physics 1, and I know we kind of talked about this before, but do not use your AP credit for like a science class like physics. I was applying this cycle, and 3 of the schools I wanted to apply to, I couldn't because they didn't accept AP credit for science classes, and I was already in physics 2, so I couldn't go back and take physics 1. So I kind of screwed myself there, and I wish someone would have told me. It was my fault for not looking into it, but just be aware. I wouldn't take AP credit for physics if you're set on it. Just make sure the schools you want to apply to do accept AP credit. And another thing, I took English in high school. I did like the college credit plus thing, so I took it through community college. That was another thing. I know some schools literally didn't want community college credit for like any prereqs, and English is a prereq. So I think it was like Indiana, Rutgers, and Boston that I couldn't apply to. So if you're interested in those schools, be aware of that. But yeah, so any other questions about the biochem major, anything, just feel free to let me know. My dot number is 4. It's just renfo.4, or you can find me in the group me. All right, bye everyone.
I came in with a lot of AP credit actually. You can see my freshman year, I did retake Gen Chem 1 and 2, and I took bio, and then the PHR 2367, that's just a second year writing class. Second year, I took my DAT this summer after sophomore year, so that's after I took OChem, both OChems with the labs, and I already took physio at that time. So the only thing left that I hadn't taken before the exam was anatomy, and then biochem. Biochem is the PHR 3200 that I took in year 3. And then the only class I have left to take will be next semester taking microbio. Yeah, I came in also with like psych credit, math credit, physics, English. So while I did take like a literature class, this did also mean that I couldn't apply to certain schools since I didn't take physics or like math or psych. So just keep that in mind, yeah.
So I took my DAT like 3 weeks ago. The only prereqs that I didn't take before was basically physiology. So the nutrition major requirements mesh super well with the dental school requirements. Apart from like the major requirements and the GEs, the only extra class you need is MolGen 4500. You don't need organic chemistry or physics, but those can count towards your electives. You do have to take psychology and sociology. And yeah.
Okay, so this looks like it is mine. Fair warning, because I did transfer, my plan is a little messed up just because my general chemistry didn't transfer, my general biology didn't transfer, and then my organic chemistry from my previous school didn't transfer. So you can kind of see in there where I had to kind of finagle some things in there and redo some stuff. I am taking my DAT on New Year's Eve, so I will party after that is over. So yeah, the only classes that I won't have completed by the time that I take my DAT are biochem and physics, and then anatomy and physiology too, and microbiology. I apologize, I also have to get going, but if I could go back to my first year, I would advise everyone to establish some study habits right away. I think that my biggest struggle as of now is that I'm trying to establish those as I'm trying to study for the DAT. So if I would have gone back to my first year and have already had those established, it would relieve a lot of stress for me. I will drop my dot number in the chat, so if anyone has any questions about ROTC, or if you're a transfer student and you just need someone to talk to, that as well. Thanks everybody and have a great night.
All right, this looks like me. So kind of similar to everybody else, I had all of my prereqs done before my DAT this summer. I left physics 1201 and OChem 2 for a second semester of my fourth year in hopes that I get into Ohio State, so I don't have to worry about it. But yeah, same as everyone else, and I do also have to sneak out, and the only recommendation I have, well, I have many others that have been said already, but for health sciences major specifically, I did this my freshman year. I applied to the major as a freshman and got in and was able to start taking the core classes. So I highly recommend that if you are a freshman in health sciences major, apply. It's worth it. So thanks for a great meeting. Bye, guys.
All right, yeah, this looks like mine. So being a transfer student and a marketing major, had a couple extra added things, and like Cincinnati. But I wanted to add that I took the DAT twice. I took it last summer and this summer just to show like it's okay. Like I did all right on the first time I took it. I took it again and went really well. And then if you see, I took OChem 2. I withdrew. That was my first semester at OSU. I just think I needed more time to adapt. I was still learning, like I was using Google Maps going around campus. So it's okay if you take a class once or twice. Took OChem 2 again with Lily and like really enjoyed the professor and ended up actually getting a lot of recommendations from him. So yeah, I just kind of like, not everything has to be linear. Also, some advisors aren't the best. If you see in my first year, I took Bio 1 lecture, and then because they said, oh, you could just wait to do the lab. So I did Bio 2 lecture with Bio 1 lab, and then just one semester with Bio 2 lab. So it's a little weird, but just a little bit better planning on your end can help you with all that, avoiding all that.
This is my plan. I didn't include some stuff, what I've done in the future. That was what I'm going to do in the future. That's my bad. But the only major things that are missing are, I believe, anatomy and biochem. And then some of like the other stuff that Lee spoke about, like physiology, sociology, are not on here, but there will be space for me to take that. It's pretty standard. I expect most people's to actually look like this, you know, with Gen Chem, Intro Bio in your first 2 years. And I just took my DAT 4 weeks ago, which seems to be a common theme in this panel, which is awesome. And the only thing that kind of stands out is that I took microbiology and physiology, which have nothing to do with the chemistry major, last semester, and those were super helpful with the DAT, which I just took later that summer, which was a month ago. So that's all I got to say about those two. Microbiology, physiology, thumbs up.
So this is Ben's sheet, but he had to head out. So,
No, I'm actually still here. I was gonna.
oh, you are? Oh, cool.
All right. So yeah, I mean, mine looks a little weird because I took like OChem second semester, or spring semester, my second year, but I loaded up on physio and anatomy because I was taking like my exercise physiology classes. So like I had like a physiology anatomy semester pretty much, and it worked perfectly. So yeah, I'm gonna have all my prerequisites done by the end of my third year. And I'm planning on taking my DAT on my 21st in January. So yeah, that's my plan. Nothing crazy.
This is me. I took my DAT after my second year. I used my AP credit for the first bio, which I wouldn't really recommend. There were also a couple of schools that I couldn't apply to, but it worked out fine in the end. And yeah, that's really all I have.
I also took the DAT after my second year, which is something that I really enjoyed, or not enjoyed, but something that like really worked out. But I really recommend taking physiology before the DAT. If there's like one class, it's definitely physiology. The one with Bronson, the one with like the 6:30 class, that's the one. It really sucks, but it really, really helps. And then also, I did get AP credit for calculus, and I know that that's not like a regular prereq for dental school, but it was a prereq for like Boston, which I applied to, so that was good. I didn't know that. And they also require stats. So if you're like looking to apply to Boston, I think there might be other schools that have math as a prereq. So just make sure when you're applying that you're looking at that too.
All right, this is my plan as of now. I am a third year, so I'm planning on taking the DAT summer of 2021. So my spring semester and then fourth year is not set in stone. I'm kind of waiting to see what kind of advice people have for classes that should be taken before you take the DAT. But generally, yeah, I think my major didn't really follow the prereqs super closely, but as you can see, it's very doable.
I had to look for a second. Sorry, I wasn't sure if this was me or not. So this is me, and I also took the DAT the summer after my sophomore year. A big reason for that was because I wanted to have the majority of things done before I entered the hygiene program. And as you can see, I've had to take summer classes / study for the DAT every summer that I've been in college. And like I said before, that's mainly just because of my major and how much kind of planning there has to go along with that. And as you can also see, I did not take Bio 2, Biochem, or Physics before I took the DAT. So I did have to teach myself just mainly the bio stuff. And yeah.
Okay, so this one is mine. I am planning to take the DAT probably sometime this semester. I started studying for it like halfway through this past summer, so this was the summer after my sophomore year. I pretty much gotten all of my prereqs done like before up to this point, except for microbio and anatomy, and I think there was one more, I'm not really sure, but I got a lot of the chemistries and the biologies out of the way. But pretty much I would just say like it's not too bad like taking all these classes like back to back. Like I tried to stagger when I would take bio and chem together, just because it kind of can get to be a little bit like a lot sometimes, but along with like my neuro classes, it really wasn't like too much to handle. I would say that my neuro classes were probably like my easier classes that I didn't have to worry about as much as like the chemistries and the biologies. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I plan on taking physics later on. And then, yep.
So just to summarize really quickly, the DAT can be taken either after your second year or your third year or your fourth year. It's completely up to you and your journey. As you could see, some people take summer classes, some don't. You can use the website called Transferology to kind of see how your courses could align at a community college or a different university. And then lastly, pre-dental requirements can mesh with nearly any major as long as you plan ahead. So hopefully everyone was able to kind of gain something out of that. And then last but not least, if you could go back to your first year and do something differently, what would it be? Let's see, Allison, do you want to start?
I think I accidentally answered this in my first part, but it's just to like take classes other than just like GEs and like the prereq classes, take a fun class or two, especially as like you're only in first year, you're just getting started. Take some time to explore your interests.
And just to add to that really quickly, if you are still looking for your major or you're not 100% sure, it's really smart to take GEs or to take pre-dental requirements or just courses in general that you know you'll need for a fact, instead of ending up like me, having taken calculus for no reason or something like that. Okay, Mela, would you like to?
If I could go back, I just would have tried to build relationships with my professors earlier for recommendations.
Victor, are you still here?
Yep. I would just recommend trying to study smarter, not harder. Like, I feel like my freshman year, I was like, I'll gain like 4.5 hours of sleep, but like I'm working. But like looking back, like I could have been better at time management. Like how much of that time is actually efficiently being used to study. So I'd recommend trying to reduce screen time on your phone. Maybe check that out. I know some people spend like 4 hours on TikTok, which I think is absurd. But yeah, if you could do that, then you can like open up more time to like go out and socialize. So time management is always something you got.
I have two pieces of advice. First, if you are set on your major and your path, that's awesome. But I spent a lot of time planning out my 4 years. And stuff has changed since I planned that out freshman year, but it was a big help, almost like a roadmap that you need. And it sounds crazy, sounds complicated, but you have access to course catalogs and like everybody today posted their major requirement sheet. So it does take a lot of time, but definitely worth it to plan out like some kind of Excel spreadsheet that tries to fit in everything: GEs, prereqs, major requirements, every semester for your next 4 or more years. And then second, so I'm doing the Bachelor of Science in Chemistry. Some people are doing Bachelor of Arts degrees. Both are great. I know nothing of difference for admissions. It's kind of a personal choice. But I would have considered, I think I should have gave more consideration to the BA because of the slightly less requirements, like in math and whatnot, which probably would have been a lot less stressful. And it also could give more flexibility to adding things like a minor or not doing as much heavy course load every semester.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I would say just choose a major that you're actually passionate about. If I could do it all over again, I would not be a bio major. I really actually hate biology, but it does get all the prereqs done, so that's nice. But other than that, just to get involved early, it's always good to go for opportunities that you might not be comfortable with or out of your comfort zone, and just get to know people and just, yeah, have fun.
My biggest advice would be to plan out all your prereqs, like your first or second year, just because then you have like an overall plan of when you're going to take what and when you're planning on taking the DAT. And then I would also advise to start early with shadowing and volunteer hours.
I definitely agree with Victor in saying that learning to study smarter, not harder, is one of the best things you can do early on. And I would just say, from personal experience, I really wish that I would have like taken the time to learn how I study the best earlier on, and not just like my second and third year, and learning to treat your coursework not just like busy work, but actually learning the material.
A couple of things I would probably say. It's also really important, like they said, to like kind of get into some good study habits early on. I would definitely recommend to like get yourself out of your dorm or your house or wherever you are. Go to the library, go to a coffee shop. Just because it might, from my personal experience, it's kind of hard to like focus in your own room when you're close to your bed or you have your roommates or whatever. So I would definitely get that under your belt first. I think it's also important to make those relationships with your professors early on, so you have those like people that you can go back to for letters of breath when the time comes for it. Can be even just something as like just introducing yourself on the first day, just making yourself known to your professor can make a big difference. And then I would also say like it does really help to go to your advisor and sort of plan out at least the first 2 years or even all 4 years, just so you can kind of visually see like which classes to take when. That way it's like a little bit less stressful. I know I went to my advisor my first year and she and I like put together literally my full 4-year plan. So like it's been easy to follow that along and I can make small adjustments along the way. And it was easy to balance out some of the prereqs with some easier classes with also my major requirements, just so I was able to get everything in a timely manner.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. And then I said this before, but I'll say it again. Don't be afraid to come in undecided or just to take the time to choose what major you want to go down, because like someone said earlier, it can often end up being kind of not a waste of time, but definitely a learning process that you can potentially avoid if you take the time to listen to yourself. Okay, so I think there are just a few people left, which is totally fine. But if anyone has any questions for the student panel in general, feel free to put them in the chat or to speak up, or feel free to find one of us in the GroupMe and you can individually send us a message if you have a specific question for someone with a certain major. Okay, we'll move on. Okay, just briefly, now we're reaching the end of the meeting finally. So if anyone wasn't able to join the DAT study group, this is the link, the application cycle link. Our Instagram page for frequent updates is OSU Pre-Dental. And then once again, if you have any general questions, you can email our club using this Gmail. And if you don't receive a response, feel free to email one of the executive board members or find us in the GroupMe and send us a chat there. And then finally, I see a chat. Let's see. So someone is asking, is it okay to take prerequisites outside of OSU, like at a community college? So it depends, once again. Of course, there's never a clear-cut answer when it comes to dental schools. So typically it is allowed, but sometimes certain dental schools like to see that you completed it at an accredited 4-year institution rather than a community college. I'm wondering if someone in the student panel can speak about this more clearly than I can. Have any of you taken a prereq at a community college or in general at another university?
When you Google like like Google the school you're interested in applying, and then just like Google like, oh, like University of Michigan College of Dentistry prereqs, and it'll tell you whether or not they accept prereqs from community colleges, like CCP and like AP credits. Because there are schools that do take prereqs, but there's a lot of schools that don't take those from community colleges.
Does anyone else have anything to add?
I did think they do tell you if they don't take the ones from the community college. I would try and take your major courses at your main university, because I have heard that they like to see that, you know, you went there. Obviously, they hope you want to take classes there, but just check their website.
And someone in the chat just said that they've talked to OSU Dental School who said that they accept them, but there are a few schools who limit the amount of credits from community colleges. So maybe just check if there's a maximum or a minimum, well, I guess a maximum from those schools you're looking into. Hopefully that answers your question. And once again, feel free to email or chat us if you have any more. We will see you at the next meeting, which will be not next Wednesday, but the Wednesday after that. And Terry Porter, the previous advisor of our club, will be giving a presentation, and we'll be reviewing more and talking more about the t-shirt competition. So thank you, everyone. Thank you to the student panelists. You are free to go. You all are amazing. I'm so impressed. Awesome. See ya.
I think it's just us.
Is it? Joanna, are you able to stop the recording? I don't know if I did.
So my Wi-Fi dropped twice, and it says it's recording right now. So wait, I guess I'll